Are you finding the world of e-mountain biking a little bit confusing? Mixing up your watts with your Newton meters? Well, don't panic, we are here to help today. Let's take a look at what's what of e-mountain biking. So if you're new to the world of e-mountain biking or even mountain biking, we have loads of videos here on the channel to help you out, from beginner level, tech stuff, all the way up to professional level riding. The videos are all on here if you take a search. But today we're going to take a look at all that hard terminology and dissect it so that you're going to understand it when it comes to talking about your beloved world of e-mountain biking. Simply put, an electric bicycle is a bicycle with a motor and a battery in it, which must be pedaled to engage that motor. Now, some e-bikes are throttle operated, meaning you twist the grip to get the motor to engage. Now, these are mostly illegal to ride on anything other than private land. But don't take what we're talking here today as gospel. You need to check out your local laws and see what actually comes into enforcing within your country. The formal name for an e-bike is a pedelec, a bicycle with an electrical pedal assist system providing power up to a speed limiter. The speed limiter also varies depending on location, 25 kilometers per hour in Europe and 32 kilometers per hour in the US and some other countries. Then we have speed pedelecs, where they have 45 kilometers per hour assist speed, and they're classified as mopeds here in Europe, which require insurance and a registration plate. And lastly, we have R pedelecs, where they can go crazy speeds, often have throttles to provide assistance. These are basically motorcycles with pedals to rest your feet on. Now, laws vary in each different country when it comes to these bikes as to where you can ride them and who can use them, so be sure to check that out. Electric bikes can be categorized into two different categories. First up being the e-bike. Now, these are great for commuting or having fun on the tarmac, although they are fairly capable on some basic trails such as a green run, and they are amazing for giving you a bit of extra boost up a hill if your legs aren't feeling it. And on the other side of the scale, we have the e-mountain bike, and as the name suggests, these are to be ridden in the mountains to have great fun off-road, usually full suspension, but there are some hardtails available. But they are far more capable than an e-bike when it comes to an off-road situation. Electric bikes have their motors located in some different positions. On a normal mountain bike, you're going to find the motor in the middle of the bike, around the bottom bracket area. But on some e-bikes, you'll find the motor in the rear hub, and on some more city commuter style bikes, you're going to find that a motor may even be in the front hub. Hub drive motors are located in the center of the wheel, either front or rear. Hub drives can either be direct drive or geared hub drives, the latter having a gear reduction in the motor. A lot of electric road bikes are hub drive, but most e-mountain bikes are the mid-drive option. Mid-drive bikes are what we usually use here on the channel and made by brands such as Bosch, Shimano, Yamaha and Bros. The motor is mounted around the bottom bracket area of the bike and provides a drive directly through the drive chain to the cassette. Mid-drive motors allow the weight of the motor to be central and low on the bike, increasing grip and stability. Something that often confuses a lot of people is the motor's power. Now, this is measured in watts, and by law, the nominal power that an e-bike's motor can put out is going to be 250 watts. However, depending on the maximum torque of a motor and rider cadence, all motors reach a different maximum wattage in short-term peaks. For example, a Specialized Levo will peak at around 580 watts. Now, we see a lot of motor manufacturers stating their torque figures in Newton meters, but what does torque actually relate to when you're out on the trail? Ultimately, torque is the turning power of the motor, translating to the ability the motor has to rotate the rear wheel. Higher torque will rotate the wheel easier and lead to greater acceleration. So a bike with a higher torque is easier to get going from a standstill. Torque will give an insight into how powerful a bike is, but shouldn't be considered a consistent measure between brands because many other things come into play too. The amount of power that is being delivered by your motor can be changed on the fly by means of changing that motor assist power levels. Now, most e-mountain bikes will have different assist levels. Now, depending on the gradient that you're riding up or maybe down, or the type of conditions that you're riding in, whether you're saving battery, going for a long ride, or maybe a power hour, the amount of assist that you choose that ride is going to differ. So let's take a look at some of the different assist levels, and let's start with off. Yes, I know off isn't really an assist function, but it means that you can select a motor so it isn't going to give you any assist whatsoever. You're just going to turn the pedals, and effectively it's a standard mountain bike, but a very heavy one at that. Now, next up from off is going to be the walk mode. Now, walk is great for when you can't actually ride up something, meaning that once you engage that walk mode, it's going to take the weight of the bike and enable you to power up that hill with all that weight removed. It will only power you up to about 3 miles an hour, so it isn't a really high assist level. Next on the cards is going to be eco mode. Now, eco is the best mode to be in if you want to get the most range from your battery. It's going to offer you a little assist, especially when it comes to some of those climbs. Then we're going to have tour or trail mode. Now, this is the best of both modes. It's right in that middle ground. It gives you quite a punchy effect out on the trail, but it's not going to totally maximize that usage of your battery. Then, of course, turbo mode or boost mode. Now, this is essential for those tricky, technical, steep climbs. That's when your motor is going to give you maximum assist and get you to the top of that hill super quick, but it can be quite thirsty on that battery. Now, some manufacturers will label that assist levels differently. Some will call it turbo, some will call it boost. Now, some brands such as Bosch actually have an automatic eMTB mode. Now, this assist level will feel how much power the bike is going to need by how much pressure you're putting through the cranks. So if you're cranking hard, it will deliver the same assist as turbo. But if you're just tootling along, spinning the cranks nice and slow, it will turn that power down to something around eco, meaning that power is on tap as you need it. But in short, the more power you're drawing from the motor, the less range you will get. And that brings me into my next point. Most e-mountain bikes will come with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery built into the frame somewhere. Now, these are lightweight, they can charge super quick, and of course they are very durable. There are a range of shapes, sizes and positions of e-bike batteries. Now, the most common with modern e-mountain bikes is an internal battery mounted in the down tube, or an external battery which is mounted on the outside of the down tube. Battery capacity is measured in watt hours. This is how many watts can be delivered for an hour by the battery. For example, a 500 watt hour battery will be able to produce 250 watts for 2 hours from a fully charged. E-bike batteries range from around 500 to 750 watt hours. Now, the bigger the battery or the more watt hours usually translates into getting more range from your battery. But range is affected by many factors, including the weight of the rider themselves, the ground conditions, the temperature, the elevation, your tyre choice, and your tyre pressures. All these different factors will affect your range. E-mountain bikes are intelligent pieces of kit. There are lots of sensors all over the bike monitoring what it is doing all of the time. There are two key ones that you really need to know about. One being the torque sensor and the other being the speed sensor. Now, the speed sensor on your bike is usually going to be located on the rear wheel. Now, this can be in two different forms, either mounted on the spoke with a magnet, or more recently you're going to find them within the disc rotor on the back of your bike. Now, the job of the speed sensor is to monitor how fast that rear wheel is spinning and when to cut that power out once you've reached that legal limit. Then there is the torque sensor. Now, these are mounted within the motor. Now, these will let the motor know how hard you are pushing on those cranks, and of course will monitor that cadence too. Now, understanding cadence is really a key part of e-mountain biking. It's going to allow you to really tune into that sweet spot of your motor and allow it to deliver the most assist that it can. Cadence is the amount of times your cranks spin per minute, measured in revolutions per minute, or RPM. Most mid-drive e-bike motors have a sweet spot of around 80 to 100 RPM. This is where the motor is working at its most efficient and providing the most power possible. Gear choice and speed will affect your cadence, so you need to match your gear selection to the terrain to propel the bike forwards in the most efficient way. De-restricting your e-mountain bike means to remove the speed limiter that is set in place by the manufacturer to meet the laws within that country that the bike is being sold in. Now, de-restricting your e-mountain bike will not give it any more power, it simply removes that speed limiter, which here in the UK is set at 25 kilometers per hour. By de-restricting it, the motor will not cut out once you go above that assist speed, meaning that the motor is in work 100% all of your ride, no matter what the speed is. Now, this is highly illegal to use this bike anywhere aside from private land, and it'll often invalidate any warranty that you have on that bike too. So there you go, hopefully that's helped you out with some of this confusing terminology that is quite common within e-mountain bikes. But I'm going to be in the comments to help you guys out with any questions you might have, so get involved. Anything you want to understand about e-bikes, drop us a question and hopefully I'll get to answer it. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you subscribe to us here on EMBN and give us a find and a follow on social media. But that's it, I'm going to drop into this trail and have a load of fun. See ya!